Uh, what's going on here? What's up, everyone? It's your local grader here, and while this might be a pretty untraditional intro, it's because we have a pretty untraditional topic. And honestly, it's something that's been plaguing my mind for the past couple weeks. Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods. What is this? Now, you might be thinking that this is a video specifically about Shazam 2 and the absolute dumpster fire it's been from pre production all the way until weeks, and I mean weeks, after the initial theatrical release. The constant news coming out week after week about the quote unquote plans or the quote unquote vision that this movie was supposed to have, but because of one thing or one person or whatever, got in the way of what sounds like the directors and the actors would call a masterpiece. And while I don't know about that, this is not a review for Shazam 2. This isn't a review, a synopsis, a rating, a ranking, not even our usual prey for slander. This is a pure think piece, a thorough examination to my confusion on what the hell is going on at DC, and honestly, the pure disappointment on all fronts that I have for this piece of shit garbage, and the three reasons why I think that's even the case. And we might as well just get this out of the way. I haven't, nor do I plan to watch Shazam 2: Fury of the Gods. In order to watch a sequel, you must first watch its predecessor, and I'm not going to do that either. And while it obviously takes away my credibility in critiquing this film, that's why I started right off the bat and said that this is definitely no review. But with that being said, in order to get to the point of why we're here, from the outside looking in, it doesn't really seem as if Shazam 2 is a garbage movie or that the people working on it had anything to do with the fact that it's the biggest DCEU flop in the history of the DCEU, with movies like Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1980 shit. But how the hell did we even get to this point? While the term production hell can be one of those umbrella terms that can be used to encompass a many of things that can hinder the finished product of a film, I haven't seen a complete and utter meltdown of a film at this catastrophic of a level since the reimagining of the Fantastic Four with Fan Four Stick. There was just absolutely nothing going for this film, and it seems as if Warner Brothers didn't care whether it flopped or not based on their total mistreatment and sheer vanishment from the lack of the box office numbers and any type of criticism that the movie has received. So, with all of that being said, let's get into the three reasons I believe Shazam: Fury of the Gods was one of the biggest superhero movie disappointments that we've ever seen. Number one, with the absolutely terrible decade Warner Brothers has had with the DCEU in trying to replicate the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like Leonardo DiCaprio and his preferences for women, it was time for a new day in the DCEU, now named the DCU, with the rights of overseeing this drastic and immense pressure project to James Gunn, who has a pretty hot name right now, fresh off of his Guardians of the Galaxy projects with Marvel, and seemingly wowing the Warner Brothers executives with his rebooted Suicide Squad. But with a new man comes a new vision, and a vision that doesn't want to look at the molding, festering food that has been hibernating on the windowsill on a hot summer day here at Warner Brothers. And well, on that plate was Shazam 2. And with that, the chopping block was brought in, axing away the unnecessary fat of the old regime that they were willing to take a hit on. And well, the rest was to be released to the general public for consumption.
Not a great plan.
There was just simply no care or grace when it came to the handling or the release of this film. It didn't even matter if it tied into the new vision. We don't even know if it does or if it doesn't. No one has said anything. And in a world of connected universes and little to no attention spans from the casual audience, you're asking people to care about a character that they don't even know if they'll see again, let alone a character that doesn't even have the box office draw to begin with Shazam. Leaving the studio now with two choices: to have faith in a character that they had quote unquote faith in no less than 4 years ago, or to hang out the moldy food to be consumed and hope to God that the people just scarf it down and forget about it. And at this point, well, we know what Hollywood is going to do. Number two, Alright, so this is when the buff man that does the jungle movies comes into play. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And while it is extremely, and I mean, let me reiterate, I mean, it is extremely corny to me how a grown man can blame the downfall of his own movie in his own franchise on the soul of another man's shoulders. That's extremely corny. Don't get me wrong, I mostly chalk it up to the now very obvious lack of leadership that was going on behind closed doors over at Warner Brothers. When Dwayne Johnson first announced his vision and reimagining of the character Black Adam, it was all that change of hierarchy and all the promotional material that the man saw to himself. While corny, at least the confidence in his character and his vision was on full display. It's pretty baffling to think to yourself that he was pretty much able to strongman his way through the executive studio, pretty much demanding whatever he wanted, and nothing was said or nothing was ever done. And while the mindset can be easily chalked up into saying that the studio already knew that they were going with James Gunn's future plans for the DCU, that makes it even more of a bigger deal to cater to the needs of the movies that you have in production now. Say hypothetically you scratch James Gunn out of the picture. Was The Rock's Black Adam even a part of the plan? Were they just playing it by ear? Was it always the plan to not have a Shazam and a Black Adam dynamic in universe? And if not, why was Dwayne The Rock Johnson able to strongman it so hard? It's no news that Zachary Levi, the actor playing the character of Shazam himself, has been very vocal of the sheer disinterest that Dwayne The Rock Johnson portrayed for his character, and don't get me wrong, the way he talks for Zachary Levi himself. And because of that, there's been no direction of the Shazam character as a whole. And while, yes, you're in the same universe, and while, yes, Shazam was made to be some sort of black sheep of the DCEU movies, leaning towards a more uplifting and family friendly tone than the movies before, but with no vision, with no direction, what really is the appeal of a character or story? Oh, yeah, right. Number three. While I personally don't think that superhero fatigue is a thing, it's hard to lie with box office numbers, and even more than that, it's a butts and seats problem. Movies are more expensive than ever, and while box office numbers can hide the quote unquote success of a film, the rapid second and third week decline that some are, well, let's be frank, most of these superhero films are facing is pretty dramatic, which means that word of mouth isn't only growing at an exponential rate in range with social media, but word of mouth hasn't been that good or well received recently. People are watching and not liking what they're consuming, with the end result being less rewatches and less first time watchers as a whole. But more than superhero fatigue itself, I think it's simply just the quality of superhero films that we get today. When doing my research for this video, the same thing kept popping into my mind. Phase 1, Phase 3, the Sam Raimi Spider Man trilogy. While, yes, all superhero films, they were grounded, they had relatable characters, and a clear but simple message that the writer was trying to tell me through his or her character or characters that were on my screen. While, yes, I'm watching Peter Parker walk on walls and swing through skyscrapers, I'm also watching Spider Man and Peter Parker go through trials and tribulations. Not everything is a fucking joke. Robert Downey's Iron Man or Chris Evans' Captain America could be characters I could see in my real life. They're flawed and still human. And when comparing that to the joke filled, mushy gobbledygook that we, the audience, have received ever since the ending of Endgame, it's pretty criminal. And that's one of the main problems that I hear about this movie when talking criticism. Shazam doesn't grow as a character, but instead seems to go even backwards, becoming even more of a meta clown that writers in Hollywood seem to think that is an interesting character. But they're not. They're shit. And the fact that it seems that the majority doesn't really care if Shazam as a character is gone or not pretty much proves my line of thinking.
Crap, crap, mega crap.
At the end of the day, while I don't think that the movie itself, either this one or the first one, really helped itself in any way, shape, or form, simply being made under the studios of Warner Brothers was the detriment in the first place. The lack of leadership going on behind closed doors that led to such an unconfident and such a lack of direction within the studio and the movie that the only reasonable answer that they felt like that they had was a full-on reboot, leading to a change in leadership that clearly had no interest in leftovers. But the cherry on top of it all was simply the lack of faith in their own product. And what makes it even more crazy is that we're definitely not going to see this treatment with The Flash, a movie that I think is going to be the first superhero movie to make $1 billion since Spider Man fan service. And honestly, will probably be the highest grossing movie that Warner Brothers has produced in this shit can of a vision that they call the DCEU. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, future or otherwise. Like I said, I haven't seen Shazam or Shazam 2, and honestly, they're probably going to be movies I'm going to go the rest of my life without watching. So please, comment down below what you felt like the downfall of the franchise was, and don't be modest. I truly do not care about spoilers, so you can really just give me your complete thoughts and visions. Again, thank you guys for watching, and make sure that you like the video, but otherwise, that's all the words I got for you today. Bye.